Hi, third graders. Today I'm going to read a book to you called Miss Nelson is Missing. And as you notice, I have our chart from yesterday, our beginning, middle, end chart, okay? BME. So I'm going to review this, and then after I'm done reading Miss Nelson, you are going to go on Google Classroom, and you have an assignment where you need to fill in the beginning, the middle, and the end of our story. Okay, so it's important that you listen closely. And in the beginning, you are going to be listening for who are the characters, who are our main characters, and what is the setting. Remember, the setting is where the book is set. So that is the place and the time. The most important part of the setting is the place, especially in Miss Nelson. It's important to know where it takes place. Okay? In the middle, I want you to listen for what happens to the characters. And remember, there's almost always a problem in the middle of a fictional story. So you're going to be looking for the big problem that the characters face. In the end, you are going to be listening for how the characters solved the problem. Okay, so the solution or solve, that's how they fixed the problem. And then you also need to think about how the characters changed. All right, so I might stop and give some more detail as I read, but for right now, I want you to listen to me reading Miss Nelson is Missing and listen for these key details. This book is by James Marshall. Maybe you can already tell what the setting is gonna be just by that illustration. The kids in room 207 were misbehaving again. That means they were not behaving. Spitballs stuck to the ceiling. Paper airplanes whizzed through the air. They were the worst behaved class in the whole school. Now, settle down, said Miss Nelson in a sweet voice. But the class would not settle down. They whispered and giggled. They squirmed and made faces. Squirm means you can't sit still, so take a minute to show me how would you squirm in your seat wherever you're sitting right now. Means you just can't stop moving. They were even rude during story hour. And they always refused to do their lessons. Something will have to be done, said Miss Nelson. The next morning, Miss Nelson did not come to school. Wow, said the kids, now we can really act up. They began to make more spitballs and paper airplanes. Today, let's just be terrible, they said. Not so fast, said an unpleasant voice. Unpleasant means not nice, not pleasant. A woman in an ugly black dress stood before them. I am your new teacher, Miss Viola Swamp. And she rapped the desk with her ruler. That means banged really hard. Where's Miss Nelson? Said the kids. Never mind that, snapped Miss Swamp. Open those arithmetic books. Well, Miss Nelson's kids did as they were told. So think for a second. How do you think the children are feeling at this point? You think they're excited about their new teacher? They could see that Miss Swamp was a real witch. She meant business, and right away she put them to work, and she loaded them down with homework. We'll have no story hour today, said Miss Swamp. Keep your mouth shut, said Miss Swamp. Sit perfectly still, said Miss Swamp. And if you misbehave, you'll be sorry, said Miss Swamp. The kids in room 207 had never worked so hard. Days went by and there was no sign of Miss Nelson. The kids missed Miss Nelson. Can you kind of get an idea of what the problem is in the story? Maybe we should try to find her, they said. Some of them went to the police. Well, Detective McSmog was assigned to the case. He listened to their story. He scratched his chin. He said, I think Miss Nelson is missing. Detective McSmog would not be much help. I think the kids are thinking, obviously, Miss Nelson is missing. Well, other kids went to Miss Nelson's house. The shades were tightly drawn and no one answered the door. In fact, the only person they did see was the wicked Miss Viola Swamp coming up the street. If she sees us, she'll give us more homework. And they got away just in time. Maybe something terrible happened to Miss Nelson. Maybe she was gobbled up by a shark, said one of the kids. But that didn't seem likely. Maybe Miss Nelson went to Mars, said another kid. But that didn't seem likely either. So if something's not likely, it means it's probably not going to happen. It's not like to happen. So I want you to think before I continue reading, how do you think the children are feeling now? Do you think their feelings might have changed about Miss Nelson or about school? I know, exclaimed one know-it-all kid. Maybe Miss Nelson's car was carried off by a swarm of angry butterflies. But that was the least likely of all. The kids in room 207 became very discouraged. It seemed that Miss Nelson was never coming back, and they would be stuck with Miss Viola Swamp forever. They heard footsteps in the hall. Here comes the witch, they whispered. Hello, children, said a sweet voice. Who's it gonna be? It was Miss Nelson. Did you miss me? She asked. We certainly did, cried all the kids. Where were you? Well, that's my little secret, said Miss Nelson. How about a story hour? Oh, yes, please, the kids cried. Miss Nelson noticed that during story hour, no one was rude or silly. What brought about this lovely change? She asked. That's our little secret, said the kids. Okay, and do you think the kids' feelings changed again? How do you think they're feeling now? Back home, Miss Nelson took off her coat and hung it in the closet, right next to that ugly black dress. When it was time for bed, she sang a little song. I'll never tell, she said to herself with a smile. So we need to make an inference there. It said that she took off her coat and hung it in the closet right next to an ugly black dress. And she's kind of giggling to herself. So what do you think that means? Who wore the ugly black dress the whole time? Miss Viola Swamp, right? So maybe you can infer, based on what the text is telling us in our prior knowledge, maybe you can infer that Miss Nelson dressed up as Miss Viola Swamp to trick the kids. P.S. Detective McSmog is now working on a new case. Now he is looking for Miss Viola Swamp because she's missing. All right, so we have our characters and setting. There was a big problem, right? And then I want you to think in the end how the characters solved the problem and how the characters changed, okay? You're gonna do that in your Google Classroom assignment. If you click the link, it will be right there for you, the next link that you have to hit, okay? I'll see you guys later.